Hey, and welcome to another Real Brave Live. My name is Dan. This is Kevin.
I'm Kevin.
Playing the bass, and today we're going to talk about something different because here at Real Brave, we do a ton of different types of music. We're not just School of Cool, playing some rock. We've got a bunch of different genres. We've got a bunch of different people playing different types of music. We've got a lot to talk about, and today we're going to talk about something especially different, which is this gentleman.
Not you.
Not that guy.
Although we do have a special guest.
Miles Davis, especially for a month such as February, where, whoopsies, hello. Thank God I'm
so badly
running this again.
Do we need
during Black History Month? Miles Davis is a huge influence on music, on Yaz, and we'll get into all that. We have a special guest, but we have no chair.
Right. Or trumpet.
Or trumpet. You could grab anything you want. I mean, you're out of any musician here, you're royalty, as far as I'm concerned. So
Royalty.
You're royal. You're relatively royal. So I'm relatively certain that we can't play this either, right?
No, we can't play it live.
Why can't we play music live, Kevin?
Because of Mark Zuckerberg. Dan.
Mark Zuckerberg. Thank you so much for letting me not play music. We might be able to get away with it. It is from 1959, but it is Miles Davis.
Yeah, but it's not like public domain. It's, I think, Columbia.
Yeah. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Alex De Lazari.
Hello.
Alex, why don't you come in a little bit? 'Cause we have one mic. It's a high profile, high technological event here.
High budget.
High budget. And yeah, so we're going to talk about this album, Kind of Blue by Miles Davis. And I guess in order to get into that, maybe you can talk about jazz or Yaz in the ways that that's the right way to say it, right?
You pronounce Yaz?
It's a soft J.
Okay. It's a soft J.
Would you be able to maybe talk about jazz and your meaning, or maybe like how you define jazz?
Well, jazz is, the best way to define it is just African American music. You know, it's really like their music, and it stemmed from like the struggle that that slavery and then segregation produced. And it was a mixing of a bunch of different music, but at the heart of it, it's kind of the black experience in America. So.
Yeah.
So by black experience, what specifically, what like subgenres amalgamated together to create this genre of music?
Well, so in the history of jazz, most people say it started. It did start in like New Orleans, like Louisiana. So, that was kind of the perfect place because there was a lot of cultural mixing. So there was like French Creoles, and then there were Spanish immigrants, and then there was like Cuban influence. So there was like a lot of rhythm influence from Africa and Cuba mixed with the French, like kind of like more classical harmony.
That's it.
And then so then it came out of ragtime. So ragtime really wasn't jazz yet, but then people like Louis Armstrong and like King Oliver and Buddy Bolden kind of made it into, kind of took ragtime and a bunch of other stuff and kind of made jazz.
Right. So for those of you keeping score at home, the music that you listen to today, whether it be pop music or the hardest metal on the planet, it starts from somewhere. In one way, it starts from classical music, right? So in classical music, you have all the scales and the keys that are associated with traditional classical music, and then you have this notion of bringing a different type of music overseas and it colliding, right, during basically slavery, right, from the 1700s and even earlier, colliding, people bringing that type of music into the classical genre, and it's emanated from songs from the field, it emanated from
spirituals,
right?
Yeah, a lot of gospel,
a lot of call and response stuff that goes predates modern history as we know, like back to like Africa, you know.
But then fast forward now it's a thing. So Yaz is a thing,
Yes.
and I do believe that Miles Davis is, if not one of the most famous or most successful, is the most successful of the Yaz players.
I think that's arguable. It's definitely maybe a lot of his stuff, because he has such a wide catalog
In Yaz.
in Yaz, but like lots of different types of Yaz. He has such a wide catalog, but a lot of it is a lot of people consider to be more accessible, in terms of like getting into it. And this album in particular, Kind of Blue, this is a great album to jump in if you don't know anything about jazz or you've never listened to jazz before, to like get into it, because all right, so Kind of Blue, it's like a sort of like a tongue in cheek on like the blues genre. And in fact, the blues form, the 12-bar blues, is preeminent throughout the album. So it translates on some level to somebody who's like already listened to, like, I don't know if you're in today, like to like having listened to Stevie Ray Vaughan or like any blues guys like that.
John Mayer, for anybody that's watching that.
Sure.
John
Sure.
Mayer's a great blues guitarist.
He really is, actually. Yeah.
Are you familiar? I'm not.
I
but-
don't really listen to a ton of John Mayer, but
Okay.
Bodies of Wonderland. And also,
That was a compliment.
and also a name of a song. I don't think. But also he plays now with the Dead and Company, which I think we talked about a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
As he plays Jerry's parts on that, but he's a very accomplished blues musician. He's got versions of Lenny, a song by Stevie Ray Vaughan. Yep. But we digress a little bit. The blues as a 12-bar form, right? That's what we're talking about. It's something
well, it
that's...
does, not necessarily. But,
Elaborate.
well, actually, the beginning the very beginning, the blues was kind of folk music, and it was kind of played by everyone, both white or black, kind of like in the late 1800s. And the original blues could be any number of bars. It could be like 8, 9 bars, 13 bars, like 11 and a half, like 24 bars,
Interesting.
And it was kind of dictated by the lyrics. But the most, like the first element of the blues was kind of like the AAB statement.
Okay, yeah.
So like, saying a statement once and then repeating it, and then the third statement would be kind of like a new statement or kind of like an answer
Right.
to the AA, which could be kind of a question or something.
Right. So the way I think about it now, it's like the way the 12 bar is set up. It's like A B A 5 4 1 5, or I guess C.
We're going to Geekville, guys.
I mean, I would kind of think of it like if you think of lyrics or something like kind of like some lyrics. I don't know. I'll just make something up. Like I don't know. Like my man don't love me. He treats me so bad. And then
My man don't love
Right.
me. Ooh, he treats me oh so bad.
right. And then you would repeat that in the next.
My man don't love me. Ooh, he treats me oh so bad.
And then you would have like an answer to that.
I don't have an answer to that, but it makes me oh so very mad.
All right.
Good.
Fair enough. So you're saying that Kind of Blue it was a take on, not a take, but like kind of like a hat tip to the blues in a sense that it was it's not blues because you can't really hear it, but I'm playing it right now. Zuckerberg.
It's blues.
The blues evolved, so
Yeah.
it evolved from that into many different kinds of blues and interpretations of the blues.
Yeah, so this album came out in 59.
Yeah.
I got it right here. It was recorded on March 2nd and April 22nd, 1959 in New York City. And there's a famous saxophonist that played on this. And who is that?
Well, two actually.
There's two. He knows it, ladies and gentlemen. One of them I know. What?
John Coltrane, and then
Don't tell me. Wayne Shorter?
No, it's Cannonball Adderley.
Oh, I knew that.
Cannonball Adderley. Do we have a graphic of that? No. Bill Evans, which is crazy. I didn't know that.
Love Bill Evans.
Paul Chambers, I don't know who that is.
Bass player.
Crazy bass player. Jimmy Cobb, don't know who that is because I'm
Drummer.
a drummer. I know it's a drummer, but I don't know who it is. And
He knows he's a drummer because he's reading it off the his cliff notes there.
I'm not reading off Cliff Notes. This is not from Wikipedia.
Right.
Wynton Kelly
He was only on one song.
on one track in place of Bill Evans, and there was some drama about that. Apparently.
Alex?
You don't know
I
that?
don't know about
Alex, please.
Alex, please tell. All right. Well, that's fine.
Bill Evans is probably one of my favorite pianists.
What?
Bill Evans.
Yep.
One of my favorite piano players.
What?
Bill Evans is one of my favorite piano players.
Okay.
His style, his phrasing, and the colors that he uses in his chord voicings. It's like almost like Debussy,
Yeah,
right?
I think he got a lot of stuff from the Impressionist
Yeah.
composers.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
Blue and green.
Yeah, that's a 10-bar song.
It is a 10-bar song. It's a weird song.
Yeah.
Do you have your horn with you?
Yeah.
You want to bring it on stage and we can do one or two of these songs?
because he's leaving now, and this is not going to make any more sense. But there he is, the best musician on the stage. Well, I you know what? That's not fair because you're quite the musician, my friend.
Not as good as Alex.
Not as good as Alex.
A little background on Alex. Alex is a student at William Patterson University in their extremely prestigious jazz program. It's like world renowned.
Which I didn't know. Being out here in the big old suburbs, I had no idea that Willie P had this great program, and we've had the honor and the privilege of having some of these students here, helping us navigate the maze of music.
Yeah, yeah,
Pretty
for
good
sure.
way to put it.
Well, there's a whole bunch of us here from William Patterson that go to school at William Patterson that work here. It's me, you, Nick, Liam, Jordan, Marcin.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Yeah.
So what is that?
It's a tenor saxophone.
Let's take this Kevin thing off, and let's talk about that instrument, which it has something to do with the old genre. Now, again, ladies and gentlemen, or lady and gentlemen, or lady, or just nobody.
Is anybody watching?
Here at Real Brave, we do a lot of different types of music, and I just felt like it was totally appropriate to talk about one of the most important components to music today, which is just complete nonsense, which is what jazz is to me sometimes.
Whoa! Shots fired.
But Kinda Blue was given to me by a friend in the late 90s, and I used to listen to it over and over and over again. I just thought it was the coolest thing. I listened to actually a lot of Miles Davis because I didn't know what else to listen to.
Yeah, it's a really good entryway into jazz. If you're hip, if you're not hip, it's a good starting point. Don't you dare snap on 1 and 3. Wow. You want to play a tune off of there?
Yeah, all blues.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a first live performance from people that know how to play stuff, featuring Kevin and Alex doing stuff that I can't do.
Take it out.
Woo!
To the head. Tag that. One more.
So cool. How do you get that rasp?
It's just air.
You don't put holes in your instrument? That's just straight up like not being.
If I just like blow, and then
But-
just add.
It's the instrument too, though, right? Because I've never heard it like that distinct. Isn't it the instrument as well? Am I just talking about stuff that I don't understand?
Well, it's like a subtone, you know. So, like if I play full tone, it's different. It's just different techniques.
I've heard you play that. It doesn't sound like that.
Yeah, I'm not. Alex did this. All right, that's why.
Yeah, I mean that's all right. So it's it's player, it's aperture, right?
Embouchure.
Embouchure.
Yeah,
Aperture is
Close.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's actually
pictures.
but it's mostly
I know music.
air. It's mostly like how you push air, like how fast or slow you push the air through the instrument.
Right.
That's Mike Shanahan.
We got some comments.
Mike.
Mike says Dan loves jazz, especially Steely Dan.
I like Steely.
Do you know any Steely Dan?
No,
Do you know Josie?
I don't know how to play.
Me neither.
Good. Steely Dan's the worst.
Why? I like Steely Dan.
Because when they every time a song by Steely Dan comes on, all I'm wondering is what people are doing to it, and I just imagine people go like this. That's what it sounds like to
It's
me.
not inaccurate, but so that tune, All Blues, was a blues song. That was a blues tune, and there are a couple of things that make it the blues. Alex, what's one of them?
The main the main basic progression, which would be starting on the 1 or tonic chord, and then in the 5th bar you go to the 4 chord, and then in this case All Blues is a little different because normally a blues would go at the end it would go 5 chord, 4 chord, 1 chord. This one just stays on the 5 chord and it goes like a half step up. That's what makes this one like unique.
Yeah.
But it's basically a blues. Yeah.
And you can use the blues scale to, if you were so inclined, to solo over that whole thing.
But that what he's playing is not. It's not a typical blues progression. Yes, it's over a blues. It's not a typical blues melody. It's over a blues.
It's over a blues progression. If Alex was so inclined, he could use the blues scale: G, B flat, C, C sharp, D,
Right.
F, G, the minor blues, and it would work. It would work over that whole.
So what makes it jazz? Just
I would say the way you were arpeggiating things and the phrasing and the vocabulary.
Yeah, there's a
There's
lot
no
of things.
vocabulary in music.
There's so much vocabulary.
No, there's letters.
I mean, yes.
There's vocabulary in like improvising.
What? This is a new
Play the
thing.
lick.
Wait a second.
Play the
Hold
lick.
on. Time
I'm not
out.
playing
Time
Come
out.
on, play the lick.
If we're gonna go to Geekville, then I've been playing music for 30 years at a very kind of subpar level. I've never heard anybody say.
He's made dozens of dollars. Spotify.
I've never heard anybody say the vocabulary. What did you say?
The specific jazz vocabulary.
It's kind of like a language. I mean, it's kind of corny a little bit to say that, but it's.
I don't think so.
I mean, it's basically when you learn a language, you learn words and then phrases, and then you can put them together.
Right.
And there's like periods and commas and stuff. And it's the same way when you're improvising. So like you can't really improvise in a jazz context in a vacuum. You have to study the. Well, you can. It just would suck.
Hey man, this is a family show.
And this, yeah, easy. You're using very big words like vocabulary on a highly rated music show.
No,
Look,
but
Sarah Lords is learning a lot.
Hey, Sarah Lords, thanks for joining us.
Do you know her?
I do.
Just checking.
Yes.
Continue, please. I interrupted you.
No, it's okay. So you have to study the musicians that came before you who played the music. So, like Louis Armstrong, even though he was kind of the first jazz musician, he created a lot of stuff, but he used as a base the music of Buddy Bolden and King Oliver, and stuff like that. And even as he developed, he learned from his peers like Duke Ellington, and then when Charlie Parker came along, he didn't just invent all of his stuff. He studied Lester Young, he studied Coleman Hawkins, he studied Art Tatum.
It's said that he carried around Stravinsky manuscripts.
Yeah, and so the bebop players, which were Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie, Bud Powell, they took a lot from the new composers of the era, like Stravinsky and Ravel and stuff. They really they admired. You can even see Dizzy wearing like a beret and like the thick glasses like Stravinsky used to do.
Yeah.
So, what I want my contribution to this, besides the fact that I actually did listen to this many times over, the biggest thing about this recording is that it's pretty much one take, right? One or two takes that they recorded. Not just, I'm just saying like they did it once and they left. We're gonna do it live, but they would take a take, right, and then that would be the recording.
Yeah, so the nature of the music lends itself to where it's like you're not going to play it the same way every time.
It's way different from today's music, which is extremely prepared. Mm-hmm. It's overdone in such a way where like you're doing 50 different versions of one song. It's done. It's so overdone. It's ridiculous. Jazz is, or Yaz as we know.
Yes.
Is and this record was done with very little preparation. In fact, Miles Davis didn't even tell them what they were doing. All these great musicians, they got to the studio, were given very little notes on what they're supposed to be doing, and basically it was, some of these were like yielding a complete take on the first try. He was giving them basic, like, here's the key, play. Yeah. It's incredible. You can't get that today. And not only that, it's the number one selling.
You do.
It's the number one selling jazz album of all time. It's sold, I don't know how many millions.
Many.
Don't do it.
Many millions.
Many millions. I don't know. I think that was my biggest take. If that resonates with anybody, please comment below about that. Because if you really compare it to anything that's out today, there's nothing like this. And in fact, a lot of things that are out today aren't like anything like this. But Kinda Blue is the quintessential jazz album for the simple fact that it was done by a jazz master. It had some of the most incredible musicians of its time. This is 2020? It's 61 years old. Right? Did that math correctly?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And it's gonna be around forever, as far as I'm concerned. Thoughts, perceptions, brilliant ideas?
I just think it paved the way for so many great musicians over the years. The idiom itself, I mean, jazz, and specifically the era of jazz that this particular album falls in or came from, the modal jazz, right? We're talking about So What, impressions, that kind of stuff. Really laid a lot of the groundwork for what would become jams.
Yeah. Yes, it will, Kevin. Moving on. There's.
I think I might have to go.
It's unbelievable.
There you go.
Oh, it's that time.
Can we give him one more to take him out on? Doesn't have to be
sure.
Miles Davis. Could be any.
What do you want to play?
Tenor Madness.
Okay.
You got 1 minute.
B flat.
B flat. One.
Some more live
1, 2,
here at
3,
Real Rave Live. I feel like I'm getting married. George is dancing.
Real Brave Live. Real Brave Live. Real Brave Live.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for
That was a
having
lot
us,
of
Dan.
fun. We should do that more often with actual musicians talking about music.
Yep. Or just put Alex on stage for the full.
I mean, Alex, you're a monster.
Thank you. You're a big monster.
You're a big monster. All right, guys. Thanks for being here today with us, and we will see you next time on Real Brave Live.